For turning blue! Hey, Clegg, shame on you! Shame on you for turning blue!
What a slimy bastard!
You're late for our 3 o'clock meeting!
I'm running Thomas. I run a very small marketing consultancy here in Bristol with 2 people. And I would say one of the things that's really important to the creative industries in the southwest is that it's important not just in Bristol but for the whole region. Yeah. And we've created the Bristol Media and other organisations creative links throughout the region. With the dismantling of the RDAs and the setting up of the geographically narrower blends, how do you see organisations continuing that fantastic integration across the whole region that has generated such fantastic economic benefit?
I better stand up because I've been told to. Well, hello everybody first. Look, the RDAs, I think it's unfair to say that all that RDAs did was not, wasn't successful, didn't work. And there were some RDA initiatives which were which were successful. But I think in general, our view when we came to government was that they were based on fairly artificially defined regions. You know the Southwest much better than I do, but I'm assuming that the Southwest looks very different from the furthest tip in Cornwall than it does in Bristol. I certainly know in the region where I'm an MP, in South Yorkshire and Sheffield, it looks very different in Sheffield than it does in the Yorkshire Dales. There's an artificiality about the regions. And I think there was a sense that we felt when we came to government that some of the best examples of economic development elsewhere in Europe and North America is when you basically shape economic development around much more natural kind of communities and economic communities, particularly around our cities. And it's something I'm going to be doing a lot more work on in the next few months. But I really do think, whether it's Bristol, whether it's Manchester, whether it's Newcastle, whether it's Sheffield, we've got to recognise that we have an array of fantastic kind of economic powerhouses in our cities outside London that can act as real locomotives to kind of bring up the economy in the areas around those cities.
We in Bristol achieve great outcomes. Your big society, the council's agendas locally, we speak in many different languages. We work with young kids, ex-offenders, ex-drug users, the whole lot. 140 stations, we run on 1.5 paid staff. Many stations run on purely voluntary basis. We have over 100 active volunteers. Do you have any plans to invest or to build up community media, which is delivering your outcomes for the big society?
I genuinely don't know whether there's any sort of specific, happily find out if you like, whether there's any specific blockages to community radio doing even better that we need to look at. And if there are, do tell me.
Money.
Well, do I think the government is going to directly subsidise community radio? Is that I can't see any realistic prospect of that any time soon. I think the growth of community radio, as you say, has been spectacular over the last few years. Are you suggesting that the kind of financial model that's work just doesn't work anymore? Or?
Well, put it this way: we have from the DCMS. We started off 5 years ago with £500,000. That's when community radio was first licensed. 5 years down the line, we have less than £500,000 for 140 stations. So that's hardly investing in the growth of a voluntary sector organisation, social enterprises, stations, and also other media. It's not just community radio, but community radio in particular, who are achieving fantastic outcomes. I think Simon and Barbara will agree, and many people in the room here will know about us. And 140 licensed community stations, which, let's agree now, is your local radio station. Now commercial radio are moving out of localism. We're not only becoming local media, we are investing time, effort, training, building, changing people's lives. I think, yes, if you want, you can go back and check it out and write a nice big cheque to us, that'll be nice. I understand that's probably not going to happen. But I think my question was more just to...
Just quite a question is, do you think that the nature of community radio is one which can only work in the long run by central governments basically financially supporting it, or is it something that you think could become self-financing over time?
Absolutely, it will become self-financing as we become more integral to society, and the councils use us, and these councils have been great. They funded us in small parts. We'll talk later. But it's also that endorsement for you to use community radio, for the COI, for local government to use community radio and be part of it, and through using us and endorsing us, actually saying, you do a good job, you know, you're here for us. We'll still question you, obviously, all of you, and it's just a case of knowing that we're around and actually taking it a little bit more serious.